Howdy, Patriots. Segment 218, calling this one the Epstein Debacle. That's, at this point in time, that's the only name I can come up with is Debacle. I'm sure I could come up with many others, but I'm going to leave it at that. Before I go into that, though, I got a couple things I want to point out. So, our infamous activist judge asshole Boasberg is up to his usual tricks. Now if you've not heard, he's now ordering the Trump administration to return all Venezuelan illegals deported under the Alien Enemies Act. If I remember correctly, the Supreme Court has already given the green light, has already ruled on that, on the Enemies Alien Act, and told President Trump, continue on, keep deporting, and have at it. But that's not good enough for Boasberg, and it's technically not up to him to make that determination in the first place. It's out of his league. He has no jurisdiction. He has nothing. But again, it's lawfare. He has to. This is just a delay tactic. I sure hope that the Trump administration, particularly the DOJ, doesn't comply with this order. I hope that he just tells Boasberg to go shove it and carry on with business as usual. I mean, the other thing is, where's the GOP? Where is the GOP? It's been a year now, and they haven't impeached or defunded any of these federal activist judges. I know. We all know. We know that. We know the reasons behind it, because the GOP is working against President Trump at every turn, every possible way that they can. They're a tyrannical government right now. They're not doing anything for this country. So, also want to throw this out there. Supposedly cartels were flying drones over or near the El Paso airport, shut it down for a certain amount of time. And we've also got cartel members out there doxing. I saw a story that they're now doxing ICE Director Todd Lyons. They're posting floor plans of his house, and they posted a video of his wife walking to work. That's some serious stuff. I don't know if it's the cartels that are doing it, that are doing the doxing. That's the report. But if you've got somebody that's taking a video of your wife walking to work, that's some serious issues. In my opinion, it's high time the Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, send some troops down to Mexico to start with, and go balls to the wall and start wiping out the cartels once and for all. They're only going to get worse as their drugs are being impounded and their cash is being taken away from them. They're going to get even more desperate. And we all know with the lunatic left, when they get desperate, they get dangerous. They get highly dangerous. All right, so that's the two articles that I wanted to bring up. So to the Epstein files. Had a big document dump not too long ago. I haven't read any of the stuff. I don't really, as most people will know that watch me, I really don't give one shit about the files. As far as I'm concerned, the only thing I give a shit about are the indictments and the arrests of those that were at Epstein Rape Island. That's all I care about. Like the JFK files, when people were screaming about those, and they dumped those, and about 2 days later, poof, didn't hear any more about it. That was the end. I mean, it's not like you were going to bring back the dead to indict them and bring them to justice. So it was a nothing burger as far as I was concerned. Supposedly, there's 3,900 files that were released in this dump, which include a mix of photos, police reports, and other investigative documents. The key contents were photos and documents. The files include numerous photographs of Epstein, his properties, and various individual associated with him, including notable public figures. Imagine that. Epstein was a blackmailing machine. Some images depict highly sexual content and have been redacted for privacy and legal reasons. Well, yeah, I mean, I don't think the public needs to see who the sexual content the victims were. Notable individuals. The documents mention several prominent figures, including former presidents Bill Clinton and Donald Trump. Nah. Clinton appears in multiple photos with Epstein. And Trump's name is mentioned hundreds of times throughout the documents. Okay, let's get this straight. President Trump met Epstein. President Trump, it's on the record. President Trump had Epstein come to Mar-a-Lago. When President Trump figured out who Epstein was, he banned him from ever coming back to Mar-a-Lago. In fact, he was, from what I understand, he was the whistleblower that divulged what Epstein was all about. So this note that I'm reading is from a liberal-based, biased piece of shit paper. So of course they're going to mention it because they have to mention. Now Bill Clinton was down there 26 times. There's Lolita Express manifest that states that. The other thing, President Trump, some will say, well, he's a billionaire. Yeah, he is a billionaire. A lot of people want money, and so a lot of people are going to become or try to become his friend, hoping that they can get some of his billions. He has met a lot of people in his lifetime that wanted his money, and Epstein's probably one of them, but he didn't fall in Epstein's trap. Let's see what else is in there. Redactions and criticism. A significant portion of the released files is heavily redacted. No surprise there. With at least 550 pages fully blacked out. This has drawn criticism supposedly from various political figures who argue that the redactions obscure important information regarding Epstein network and the extent of his activities. That I can believe. I can believe that those redactions may include that. But what I don't believe is that the political figures are so concerned about it. First, let me say, before I go on any further, this was just an article that I saw posted. I want to say that Epstein, in my opinion, Epstein did not kill himself. And like some out there, I don't know where they get this, probably from Alex Jones, who knows. Some out there think that he's still alive. I do not believe for 1 minute that he's alive. There's no reason to keep him alive. He's too dangerous to them to keep him alive. He's been offed. They took him out. Glenn Beck came out with a podcast the other day with a video. I believe it was from CBS. They went and analyzed recording of CCTV camera just outside of the area where you go into the hallway or the holding area for where Epstein was at. And there is a little, if you look closely, and he points it out, there's a little orange blob that starts coming up the steps, and he believes, and I this is what I believe too, is that that orange blob was an inmate, and that inmate is the one that took out Epstein. From my understanding, he's going to be doing some more investigative work to see, or he mentioned it would be nice to find out if any inmates from that prison had their sentences reduced or even released for whatever reason around that time frame or shortly after. That may explain a lot as to who did it. The two cops that supposedly were in the area were sleeping. While one claimed he did. It was a male and a female. The male said he was sleeping for like 2 hours. The other one the female screwed up the inmate count for the night. Anyway, the one that was sleeping, this is from testimony of theirs. The one that was sleeping just so happened to check on Epstein and saw him hanging from his bed. He loosened the noose from the bed, got him on the floor, but said that he didn't remove it. And then all of a sudden, supposedly, the noose was gone. In fact, the other law enforcement officer, the female, testified that when she came into the room and he was lowering Epstein, she actually didn't see a noose at all. But according to Glenn Beck, it was later on that all of a sudden the noose just happened to show up later in the cell. Not only that, but the coroner, I find rather odd, the coroner couldn't determine the time of death. The whole report from the time that before he was killed and after removing him from the prison is shady at best. The whole report. I mean, law enforcement can screw up areas of homicide. They can tamper with evidence. They screw up the evidence, but this one, they did it for whatever reason, on purpose, or they just screwed up again on another investigation. I find that it was the former. They screwed it up on purpose. And so I'm going to say this again. I've got a video out there about her. Bondi has fucked this whole thing up. I'll recount. She went on Fox News, said that she's got the list on her desk. That was on a Wednesday. On a Thursday, she said she was going to release it. On Thursday, that came and nothing. And then they came out. That's about the same time that Patel and Bongino said that Epstein didn't kill him or did kill himself, and that there was no lists out there. Then all of a sudden there was lists out there, and she handed shit over to Congress, and for whatever reason, I don't know, but Congress got their dirty fingers on it, and more than likely they got rid of some of the evidence, or they contaminated the documents somehow. This dog and pony show they had the other day with Bondi testifying in front of the House committee, that was all for show. There's people out there on the social media sites praising her for what she did and how she attacked the congressional leaders. It was, I mean, the best she could come up with whenever they attacked her, the best she could come up with for a rebuttal was bringing up their voting records. Really? That's the best you could come up with. I mean, she could have said, there's a good possibility that you're on that list. I may have seen it. There's a good possibility that one of your buddies on the list. I'm sure I've seen it. You might not want to talk too loud. But she didn't. She mentions their voting records like We all know that their voting records already suck, but that's the best she could do. So let's see now with the exchange of words between the children. Um, let's see if the Democrats try to impeach her now. I mean, that is the telling sign if she's over the target that they're going to impeach her. I mean, they went after Pete Hegseth and they went after Kristi Noem um, to try and impeach them, but for some reason they've left her and Patel alone. Um, so much of what goes on in D.C. is just sick, twisted, and disgusting, and a lot of it is theatrics. They're putting on a show for their constituents or for the country. Half the time you can't tell whether they're telling the truth or not, and most times they're not. I mean, people in this country are pissed. The ones that really truly believe in this. There's some goofballs out there that's saying that the Epstein files is a nothing burger and we should move on from it. I don't know what planet they're living on, but people are pissed off. And as far as I'm concerned, this little leaking and dripping and drabbing of the Epstein files is basically a distraction. They're just feeding us crumbs. Here you go. Here's a little bit. This should take care of you for now, for a week or two, and in the future we're going to hand you a little bit more, and that'll shut you up some more. And that's all it is. It's theatrics. And don't yeah, don't believe for one moment that the Democrats want everything exposed. Don't believe that any of the congressional members want this exposed. I do find it interesting. I do find it interesting that the Democrats are screaming about this more than the Republicans. I don't know what it is. I mean, they stand to lose more if this comes out and indictments start flowing. But for some reason, they're screaming about it. As far as I can see, screaming it about, other than Massey, he's just that turncoat. He's just throwing it out there to save his ass, and he could care one way less or another. But the Democrats exposing this and screaming and crying and everything, they don't care. They don't care. In fact, if this truly, if Bondi got off her ass and started throwing indictments out, I believe the halls of Congress would be pretty empty, because there's going to be a lot of politicians that would be getting the indictments, and this is why it's not happening. This is one of the reasons why it's not happening. The truth of the matter is that this is a massive cover-up. You have criminals protecting other criminals in D.C. and across the country. They don't want they don't want this to come out. They've got Bondi where they want her. She's not going to do anything. Again, the telling sign is whether they try to impeach her. If they don't after this, then you know what I'm saying is true. She's doing exactly what they want her to do. And what's the really disgusting part, beyond disgusting, and I've said this so many times, every day that this shit goes by and there's no indictments and nobody taken off the streets, we have a child's life that is in danger every day. And they just don't seem to care. One way or another, they just don't seem to care about what's happening to these children. And I still, there were some victims the day Massey and MTG stood on the Capitol steps and screamed and said that they were going to go to Congress and start releasing names, was the same day that the victims stepped up and said that they were going to start releasing names of the criminals. I have yet to hear from them. I don't know what's going on there. Have they been shut up? Have they been threatened to shut up? No, this is all one big cover up. I I don't know why, because some of you are going to ask this. It's in your mind. I don't know why President Trump is not pushing harder on this. I don't know. I wish I knew. I wish I could figure it out. He's not implicated, as I stated, some want you to believe. But I wish I knew why he's, other than the fact that he's so damn busy running the country. He probably thinks he's got more important things to do right now than to get in the middle of this bullshit. I don't know. Maybe he's letting Congress deal with this on their own, see if they'll hang themselves, which they could possibly do. Maybe he's letting Bondi take some heat, and hopefully, maybe one day in the near future, she'll resign. That's the closest thing I can come as to why he's not really been pushing this. And right now, our Congress is the enemy of the people. We the people. President Trump is not Congress. I believe President Trump is doing exactly as much as he possibly can for this country. So don't take this message out of context. I'm still with him 100% until something really dramatic happens to change my mind. Our Constitution tells us what to do in the case of a tyrannical government. It's just whether we want to do it, whether we want to do what our Constitution says. I can tell you at this point in time, I trust most politicians about as much as I trust a terrorist in this country. They are doing nothing for it. They're not doing anything for this country. And the harder they work against President Trump, the harder they are working against this country. Again, Epstein Debacle, massive cover-up. More is going to come out. Eventually, more is going to get leaked. But again, I don't care. I don't give one shit about what's in the documents. I, along with millions of others, just want to see the Rape Island rapists go to jail. That's all I got, people. If you see this sign, this is somebody telling you that they're in distress. It's an international sign of distress. Help them out as safely as you can, because they are in big trouble. That's all I got, Patriots. Have a good day.